Good morning and welcome in. It is Sunday. We are at the midpoint of the season, week 9, double-digit week start already. I know some teams are out there. They're 3-5, trying to make a playoff push here, trying not to sell the season. Some teams are looking for bettering their playoff position. We're here this morning to help you out. Jack Schwam, we finally got you in the house. It's been weeks we've been trying to do this. We finally landed the big dog. So welcome in.
Thanks, man. I'm stoked to be on.
Yeah, so been living a busy life for you. So
yeah,
we're gonna. That's great. So I got some big news already this week. JOK went on IR. We're without him for a couple weeks. We're probably going to see some Cleveland linebacker questions, maybe some waiver wire targets and things like that. So. As I was prepping for the show this week, I was kind of looking at the matchups, and we just see a lot of big name players this week with kind of some clunky matchups. So we're gonna hopefully trust our gut here this week. Trust our studs, and we'll kind of right the ship here a little bit. So let's get into it this morning, Jax. First question: only Jock in the village in the Robin Williams. Good morning, IDP. It's probably before your time. You don't know what that is, but we'll go with it. So
good morning. Do it now.
There you go. All right, perfect. All right, not that bad. So, all right. So he's got a question for some linebackers here. He gets to start 2. He gets 1.5 for a tackle, 0.5 for an assist, 6 for sacks, and he's got some great names here. We got Foye Oluokun, EJ Speed, Ernest Jones, and Ivan Pace. So we need 2 of these. Jax, who are you thinking here?
Yeah, that's a solid list. Right off the bat, I know we just talked about it before going live here, but Ivan Pace, the numbers there, he's been so efficient. And without Blake Cashman, he's putting up double-digit tackles. It feels like every time. Right off the bat, I want to go Pace, and he does have the pass rush upside too. He's been getting sacks as well. I think he had a sack last week. I'd have to double check that, but he is getting to the quarterback. So right there, I would probably slot Pace in as one of the options. Usually, I would jump right on Foye, but I'm a Jags fan, so I watch a lot of the Jaguars. And Foye has just been a tough one this year because, the Jaguars brought in Ryan Nielsen as the new defensive coordinator, and he's not getting 100% snaps in this new system. So they're kind of rotating linebackers. I think last week was his highest snap count at 93% of the snaps, I want to say. But there's just something there that scares me a little bit. Ernest Jones just seems to be kind of productive wherever he is right now. He's on his 3rd team, I guess, technically, of this season. So my gut's telling me to go Ivan Pace for sure. And then I'm kind of between Ernest Jones and EJ Speed. I think EJ Speed's probably the better floor play here. For the upside, though, give me Ernest Jones. I think I'm going Jones and Pace.
And I'm in total agreement with Pace here, and I'm actually going to go EJ Speed. Ernest Jones popped up on the injury report on Friday with a neck injury, with some neck stiffness, and he didn't practice Friday, so that's a little pause for hesitation. Neck injuries are kind of a scary thing, obviously with the JOK stuff. We just saw that last week. I'm going to lean safely here and just go Speed. Speed's been very productive this season. I know that he gets kind of a clunky matchup this week, but I think that his floor is well enough that he and Pace can do well enough for you there. So good morning, Carter. Carter's always good for a couple questions. Carter needs one of these defensive linemen. Ojulari is the name that pops right away for me. Browning just is kind of a heavy rotation in Denver right now. Hubbard isn't what he used to be. And Ojulari for me on this one. I don't know if you see it any differently, Jax.
No, I'm the same as you. He's been getting increased opportunity, obviously, with the injuries on the line there. And we've seen his production kind of tick up because of that. So same for me. Right away, that name jumped off the list. I'm going Ojulari.
Do you see a little bit more of a rotation when Kayvon Thibodeau comes back now that with the way Ojulari's been playing? Or, maybe Ojulari is a name that's on the trade block, for the Giants, a team that looking to get some trade capital. There's several teams that definitely could use a defensive end this time of year.
Detroit's definitely going to be in the mix, right? We've heard Arizona. A bit about that. Arizona, sniffing around. I do think if once Thibodeau's back, it's going to eat into Ojulari's snap count. Maybe it won't be as big of an effect as we would have thought before with how he's been playing. But if he stays on the Giants, I think there is going to be a bit of a cap there in terms of what he can do. But like you just mentioned, we got the trade deadline's Tuesday, right, coming up here. So that's approaching, and some of these names could suddenly become a lot more relevant based on kind of where they go.
Yep. Carter's got a linebacker question, and he's got to choose 4 of these. So you get a big list here, Jax. You got KJ Britt,
Okay.
Terrell Dodson, Dorian Williams. I'm going to assume that's Eric Hendricks, TJ Edwards, Divine Diablo, and Josie Jewell. So you got some really good names there to pick from. You got 4 there.
That's it. Yeah, that's a tough list. Dorian Williams has been very efficient, so it's tempting to go with Williams, just because of the tackle numbers. He's not even playing 100% snaps every week too, but he's just been kind of racking up the tackles. So I think Williams might be a guy that I throw in there. I loved KJ Britt preseason. Fantasy wise, we just haven't seen enough consistently, so I'd probably go away from Britt. Kendricks has been a great option all year. I think I'm going Kendricks, Williams. Actually an interesting one. I think Josie Jewell might kind of finally be healthy now. And with the injuries there with the Panthers linebacker room, I think, all the opportunities there for him. I think I might bank on Josie Jewell this week, kind of having one of his better weeks. We'll see. But that would probably be my 3rd guy. And then the 4th, I look at Tyrell Dodson. The PFF numbers have been good. He's been a good linebacker. But a guy like TJ Edwards for me, like if you can throw him in your starting lineup, I think he still has all that upside with the Bears. So I think those are my 4. I'm going to go Williams, Kendricks, Edwards, and Jewell.
I think Edwards is a smash spot this week playing against Arizona. He gets a great spot.
Yeah.
And I'm with you there with Britt and Dodson. They're kind of lost a little bit of their luster to start the season. The one interesting one here is Diablo, because Big Bob Spillane is kind of dinged up. They have their bye week next week, so there's a chance they shut him down for 2 weeks just to get him healthy. And so if that were the case, Diablo might be the de facto linebacker one there for the Vegas Raiders. And so maybe he becomes a sweet one there with Jewell. I don't know. Those one would be really interesting, but totally on board with you there. Carter's defensive back question is he needs 2 of these. I don't know who the bell is, but we got Cameron Bynum, Harrison Smith, CJ Gardner-Johnson, and Quentin Lake. You are always welcome, Carter. The name that pops for me right from this list is Cam Bynum. They get the Indianapolis Colts, and on paper, it might not look like a great matchup, but that was a lot of Indianapolis Colts with Anthony Richardson as the quarterback. We've got Joe Flacco now under center, and we know he's going to throw the ball and throw often. And so I think that creates enough opportunity for Bynum to become relevant this week. The other name for me is Quentin Lake. I've just been on him all season long. They get a great matchup versus Seattle. That Seattle secondary has been great, and they get a great matchup this week versus the Rams, who finally have healthy with Cooper Kupp. Puka Nacua is questionable, but leaning towards playing, and that offense just seemed to really click last week, so providing a lot of opportunity. So those would be my 2. Jax, you got any difference on that one?
Yeah. You know what? I'm definitely with you on Quentin Lake. I mean, I think last week was really the first dud we kind of saw for him just in terms of fantasy. He's been a super consistent option, putting up numbers every week. So, Quentin Lake, like you said, I think it's a pretty good spot. I'm going with him. CJ Gardner-Johnson, that's a bit interesting to me. He is playing the Jags. I think teams know that they can kind of just throw on the Jags now because that secondary has been tough. I think this could be a game where they're down pretty bad, pretty quick. I worry about how often the Jags will be on the field to give CJ Gardner opportunities. We'll see. I think Bell's Vaughn Bell there, I want to say, maybe.
Okay.
Not sure I'd pick Vaughn over these other guys here. I do like Bynum, like you said. Harrison Smith kind of feels like this journeyman that's just been putting up points regardless. I think for the floor, I might go Harrison Smith, take Lake and Smith. That's just me personally, but I get where you're going with Bynum too. He's been a stud.
Yeah, and having both of them there, like both Minnesota safeties, it's kind of pick your poison. Do you want to have the deep guy? Bynum is playing a lot of snaps deep. Harrison Smith is maybe going to edge up a little closer if they're going to be down Blake Cashman. Maybe he gets a few more box looks. But it just kind of depends on what this Indianapolis offense is going to look like with the game script. So whatever you're thinking, So, all right, Carter, best of luck to you. Hopefully we see you back here in week 10. Sebastian, good morning. I got two questions. Well, we have two answers, two suggestions, I should say. Who would you start, Spillane, Overshown, or Jack Campbell? Let's start with that one. So, actually, you got three linebackers there to choose from. Each of them have their positives, definitely have some of their negatives there. Who are you starting this week in week 9?
I mean, I think that list is easy for me if we have a little more clarity on Big Bob Spillane's injury. If he's going and he's going to get his 100% snaps, I think I pretty easily go Robert Spillane there. But there is that question mark, in terms of is he healthy? We were just talking about that with the situation with Diablo. So I want to say Spillane right off the top of my head. But if we're getting close to game time here and there's some little bit of trepidation about his injury and how he's looking, I think I'd go Overshown in this situation just because of production. I love Jack Campbell, but I'm not sure he hasn't really consistently put up the fantasy numbers I'd like to see with the Lions this year. So I'd say my first option is Spillane if he's playing. The second, I'm probably pivoting to Overshown if we have any worries about his injury.
And I agree. And the nice thing is we'll know about Spillane. He plays in the noon game. We'll know right away if he's in or out, so then you can easily make that pivot move. So as far as the second question is defensive line starting here, we got Zach Allen, who's having a phenomenal season, Fowler, and Ojulari again. So really don't like Allen's matchup this week. He's been kind of matchup proof this season. So, he's come of those players that you don't really have to worry. He's been playing some Max Crosby-like stats. He's been playing like 80-90% of snaps in games, so which is unheard of for defensive linemen. So volume is always king in IDP. So we mentioned Ojulari as a really fun name, without Thibodeau there.
Yeah.
Is there a name that's screaming to you here, Jax, or do you got just going to go with the safe Zach Allen call?
I think I'm going to go Ojulari. For the reasons we kind of mentioned before, like he's on the upswing. He's been producing. I really like Zach Allen, and like you said, the opportunity has been great given the snap percentage and everything. But it's just so frustrating when you're starting a D-liner against Lamar Jackson. There's just so many instances where maybe the D-liner makes the play and gets through the line, but Lamar is just so good at scrambling and improvising that I think he can just kind of make you pull your hair out when you're watching in terms of actually getting the sack. So I might avoid Allen this week and go to Ojulari.
No, I agree with you. And that Washington Commander, that should be a decently fast-paced game. They run a lot of plays, so that provides a lot of opportunity for snaps. So
totally.
Ryan's got a question here about one defensive back. So we got Josh Metellus, who's kind of been disappointing this season. He was a waiver wire darling last season, carried a lot of teams to championships, but this year just kind of settled back into that questionable start. Tyler Nubin's been a great start to the season as a rookie. And then Cam Curl, we've had alignment issues to start the season. He got a couple great games. Managers were trusting him, myself included. Yeah. Threw him in the lineup, and he laid a clunker last week. And he also comes into this game with a questionable tag with his knee, but he's trending towards playing. So if you have safe points this week, I think that Tyler Nubin's your safe call. But if you need a home run, I'm going Curl here.
I'm the exact same as you, man. Yeah, upside, give me Curl. If this is a matchup where you can't really afford, single-digit tackles or that kind of production, maybe a limited snap count kind of thing with Curl, if he actually is hurt, probably go Nubin. But yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, and for the same reasons, Seattle's going to be a little pass heavy. I think that either out of the backfield or to their wide receivers, and I think that the Rams obviously provide Seattle with a lot of opportunity there. So. I got to start an RB2 question here. Dowdle, Algier, or Moser? So pretty easy for me, Dowdle this week with Zeke Elliott not even making the trip to Atlanta.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm with you. I think Dowdle's a great spot. People are going to talk about Dalvin Cook, but I just don't think he's been there long enough or playing long enough, I should say, to really be too much of a threat to Dowdle with Zeke inactive. Mostert is going to have the touchdown upside with Tua back, obviously. I think he got one last week, even with Achane getting more snaps. But it's kind of honestly both for the floor and the ceiling. I think I'd rather go Dowdle this week, just given the situation.
Best of luck to you, BJ. Got a super chat here from Jeff. Good morning. He needs to know Zach Bond or TJ Edwards. Thanks. Both are great options. I love TJ Edwards this week versus Arizona. I just think he's got a smash start. Bond's he's been trending in the right direction as far as his play goes. He had a tremendous start to the season, kind of leveled off. It was dinged up, but I think Edwards is pretty steady Eddie for me. So,
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the exact same production kind of as last year with Edwards so far, but he's still putting up points. I think every week he's capable of putting up double-digit tackles, sorry, and even like a big play here or there. So I'm going TJ Edwards as well.
Does the matchup for Vaughn with Jacksonville sway you in that, or would it have been Edwards regardless?
You know what? I think it would have been Edwards regardless here. Zach Bond, like he has, especially early on, he was getting the big plays with the sacks and stuff. But the thing about the Jags is they've actually been keeping Lawrence relatively clean in the pocket, even when they're losing games. So he's getting the ball out. He's not taking sacks. I think he's had a couple of weeks in a row where he hasn't had a sack or taken a sack, pardon me, or it's been like just one sack. So if anyone's getting through, like I'm not sure to be Bond or the linebackers. I don't think the big play upsides there as much this week. And I also, like I said earlier, I just worry about the Jags being on the field that much in terms of opportunities. So I'm going Edwards here.
And I like the way that the Phillies defensive line is starting to gel and play a little better. So they might not rely on Vaughn to be needed to rush like they were week 1, week 2. So maybe he's sliding back into that more traditional linebacker role.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for the super chat, Jeff. We appreciate that. PPR flex, we need a spot here. Bucky Irvin, Rashad Bateman, Zach Charbonnet, or Devontae Wicks. So, as much as I hate to say this, I'm going to hope that Bucky Irvin plays on Monday night. I know he's got a little bit of questionable tag. Bateman worries me now that they brought in Deontay Johnson. Charbonnet scored like a garbage time touchdown last week to salvage it, but it's been Kenneth Walker all over Seattle. And Devontae Wicks, you got a rainy day in Green Bay today. The weather might not be great. It could be a shootout with Detroit. Wicks has just been really inconsistent. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go Bucky Irvin. He's just been a hot hand, and hopefully he continues that.
I'm the same way. I'm going Bucky just based off, the consistency and the opportunity there. Like, I think that running back situation in Tampa Bay, it's starting to look like Bucky might be the guy going forwards. And he's had a couple good weeks in a row here. So Bucky feels like the safest option to me. And he honestly feels like he has the highest ceiling as well. So I'm going Bucky.
Yep. And I still like Rachaad White now, especially with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin out as a receiving option. So he provides a high floor with the PPR. But like you said, Bucky Irvin seems to be taking over that role. So, boys of summer, here's your question, Jax. We got 3 of these 4 linebackers. So which one are you sitting on? I think I know. Pace, TJ Edwards, Foye Oluokun, and Zach Bond.
Yeah, I think I'm sitting Bond here. Like I've raved about Pace already. I like TJ Edwards a lot. Foye does have the issues with the snap count and stuff, but I think he's going to be on the field a lot. What's been happening against the Jags is usually like that defense is out there for a while. It's long drives, and the defense does have the opportunity to rack up tackles and get points in IDP. So 3 of those 4, yeah, give me Pace, Edwards, and Foye.
I was right with you. So, Hannah's got a couple questions here. First one up, a lot of options. We need to pick 3 of these very talented defensive line. We got Justin Madubuike, Keon White, Boye Mafe, Jalen Carter, Christian Ellis, and Jeffrey Simmons, Frankie Louvu. So 3 of those. Again, not knowing scoring and things like that, but they look like they're all defensive linemen. The one name that really jumps for me right away as a must start is Christian Ellis. He's been playing phenomenal. He's been getting a lot of snaps, and he's kind of like that weird hybrid defensive line linebacker in New England. And anytime we can get that, that is cheat code. So he's a for sure for me.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. Christian Ellis popped out. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of starting 2 players from the same defense just to try to get diversifying there. So Keon White is out. He's been kind of settling back into a role. He started off super hot. The other name for me might be Boye Mafe. He's had a quiet couple of weeks. He's ready to, he had a 3-game sack streak to start the season. Just kind of just waiting there. And then maybe Lou for me. I don't know if he's defensive line eligible in your league. Obviously, if he's going to be in this group. So I'm going to go with those 3.
That's solid. Luvu's, yeah, if you can play Luvu at the D line, I'm with you there. That's a really enticing option. I think I would start Jeffrey Simmons though. Like I think if I had to pick three, I'm going Ellis, I'm going Mafe, like you said, and I'm probably going Jeffrey Simmons. Just with the matchup this week, they get New England. I think he'll have some opportunity there to get to the quarterback. And he had a good week, and he kind of had a weird start in terms of production, but good week last week. Got to the quarterback, so yeah, I'll go with Simmons.
Perfect. I like that call. And the second question is it crazy to start both Nate Hobbs and Trayvon Moehrig, or should I replace one with Metellus? Thank you guys as always. I personally don't like starting two from the same defense if you can avoid it, but these are two different positions. You got a safety and a cornerback here, so it's not without merit. If you had a different option than Metellus, maybe I would be looking at an option. Metellus just doesn't scream must start to me this week, so I don't know that Metellus is any better than the option of Hobbs or Moehrig. I know that they don't have they do have some pretty good matchups this week with Cincinnati, so they should be pretty pass heavy. So that provides a lot of opportunity. So I'm okay with Hobbs and Moehrig this week.
Yeah, the risk is you're always a victim of game script, right? If they're not on the field for whatever reason. So there's certainly risk baked in there, but I think I do prefer both of those guys over Metellus, just with how the season's kind of gone for him so far. So I'm with you there, Jeff. Yeah.
And not to put you on the spot here, Jax, too much, but is there somebody like a defensive back or a safety, maybe waiver wire material that you'd throw in over there? A guy that screams to me is Damian Richards or Domini Richards from Carolina. Their whole safety core is like just decimated right now. He had 11 tackles or something like that last week. I think he gets a pretty solid matchup this week. Versus New Orleans, there should be pretty pass heavy, either with Kamara or Olave. Derek Carr's back under center. So Carr's back under center. So I would maybe pivot to one of those. So maybe you could start like a Moehrig and a Richards, and that way kind of diversify your lineup a little bit.
I think that's a good call. I mean, there's probably a low chance any of them are on waivers, but I think about like those. Like I'm sure Nick Cross won't be there, but even a guy like Blackman, like one of those Colts safeties. They I don't know what it is, but like that secondary has just been getting points kind of all year. And they got, Sunday Night Football, they got Minnesota. I think Sam Darnold will be slinging it. So I think they'll have some opportunity. There'll be prolonged drives for the Vikings. So if you can really get a piece of that Colts secondary, I think that might be a good option as well.
Yeah. And so, Hannah, if you're still around, if you want to throw up some waiver wire options, we'd be happy to help you out that way too. So, Jason, favorite show of the morning. That's our favorite icon of the show. Little ecto cooler. So go Hoosiers. Yeah, Big Ten is really representing the season. We got some great teams. Well, the Big Ten is half the country right now, but we'll go with it. So Malik, Edgerrin Cooper or Trevin Wallace. So Cooper's been playing a lot of snaps lately. He's been getting to the quarterback. We got Detroit this week. It's a huge game in Green Bay. Trevin Wallace has been playing really well, but Josie Jewell's come back, maybe taking off a little of that luster. So, Jax, who you got?
I'm going Edgerrin Cooper. Unfortunately, like I said, Jaguars fan, I had to watch that guy last week, and he was just kind of making plays left, right, and center. So, and especially with Jewell coming back, like you mentioned, like I think an appealing part with Wallace has been the fact that he's playing 100% snaps or close to it since Shaq went down. So I think with Jewell coming back, it's pretty easily Cooper for me this week.
Yep, agree. Ojulari or Christian Ellis?
Ooh.
Man. I got to lean Christian Ellis. Just the alignment of snaps and stuff like that. He's been playing really well. The only hesitation I have is he's a little dinged up, but he did get into limited practices Thursday, Friday, so it makes him probably a good start this week.
So you probably should be going. Yeah, I go Ellis too. Like you said, it's just the cheat code kind of roll with the whole hybrid D-line or linebacker type of deal. So those guys always have a good floor. They're not going to burn you, and they still have the upside of the pass rush and everything. So I'm going Christian Ellis too.
All right. Got another super chat here from JRH. We got good morning, Cam Curl or Kobe Bryant. So Kobe Bryant's been having a great couple weeks in replacing of Rayshon Jenkins in that Seattle secondary. So he's been playing really well. Cameron Curl, we kind of mentioned, was like really starting to trend. He started to play a little more positive alignment. So these are two really good options, two really good matchups too. The Rams and Seattle both provide, top 12 matchups for both of the opposing teams. I'm actually going to lean Kobe Bryant here in this one. I think that Rams offense is just really clicking now that they got their offensive pieces here. So as hard as it is to sit Cam Curl, coming in after a clunker last week, coming in with a knee injury or a designation, give me Kobe Bryant.
This one's really tough for me. And like you said, they're both good matchups. Both quarterbacks are going to be slinging it. I just think that maybe the Rams will try and kind of get the running game going a little more with Kyron. And Gino's actually been a little bit down, I think, in terms of the passing attempts every game, but especially to start the season, he was just firing the ball, most in the league essentially. So I think I'm still leaning Cam Curl a bit here, just because I think there will be a lot of opportunity with Gino passing a lot again, hopefully tonight. Even
without DK Metcalf?
That's tough, but you know what? They still got JSN and they got Tyler Lockett. So I think he's still going to be throwing it. I'm going Cam Curl. That's what my gut's telling me.
Okay. Sorry, JR, that we couldn't come to a consensus on that one. So hopefully you can make the right call. All right, where are we at? Good morning. Got a tough question here. We got 4 out of these players. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players. So we're sitting 2 of these. Brian Burns, Levante David, Zach Bond, Mohamed Diabate, Edgerrin Cooper, Terrell Dodson, and Nick Bolton. So Summer needs to know who to sit here. Is there a name that says sit here?
Yeah. It's so weird. Like Nick Bolton a couple of years ago, he's obviously like a top 5 set and forget linebacker. Consistency wise, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'd sit him over a guy like Tyrell Dodson yet, but he's one that does scare me a little bit. That's a tough one. I think I might
have a hard time sitting linebackers when I like over a defensive lineman. Just the consistency there. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. Like, so would you sit a guy like Brian Burns or?
As I look at this list, David looks like he's good to go on Monday night. Pretty decent matchup versus the Chiefs. Bolton actually has a really good matchup too versus Tampa Bay on that Monday night game. So that's kind of a fun option too for you to have your 2 linebackers going Monday night. You're going to have a chance to score every single minute of that game. So that's kind of a fun way to think about it. Diabate's been fantastic stepping in for JOK. We're the green dot. He's going to do that again this week with JOK out. I'm probably going to actually sit Edgerrin Cooper and Brian Burns this week, and I'm going to roll out the other 4, David, Bond, Diabate, and Bolton.
I think that's probably the best play in terms of a floor too. It feels bad sitting Brian Burns, but I totally get your argument with the linebackers and the production you get from them. So if I had to sit one of those, I might sit Diabate over Cooper, even with the increased opportunity with JOK out. But yeah, I understand, he might still, if he produces like he does last week, I don't want to sit Diabate. So I'm with you there on Cooper and Burns, I think, overall.
I think the big thing for me with that is just the guaranteed snaps. Outside of an injury, Diabate's probably going to get the snaps. Cooper hasn't seen more than 70% snaps yet this season. He's almost at Ivan Pace-ish, super efficient with the snaps that he's been given. And so that efficiency has to run out sooner than later and give me the volume of snaps there. So that's why I'm going to pick Diabate over Cooper. So
always a wise call for sure.
Summer had a quick defensive back question too here, choosing Cameron Curl as the flavor of the week. Tyrion Johnson or Grant Delpit. So Delpit screams like he should be producing so much better with his alignment, with the linebackers that are dinged up in front of him. But we just haven't seen that like smash Grant Delpit game yet this season.
No.
Obviously Cameron Curl has been producing really well. We've talked about him and his great matchup. And then we got Tyrion Johnson, who for Buffalo has been a staple going up against Miami. And I know that Miami now is a very different team with Tua under center. So I'm actually going to go curling Tyrion Johnson here.
I'm exactly with you here, Jeff. I think, like you said, Delpit, like he has all the potential in the world to be producing like crazy. And like he hasn't burned managers yet in terms of his production. But he just hasn't had that ceiling game you want to see that'll win you your week kind of thing. So if I'm choosing two here, I'm going Cam Curl. I like Cam Curl a lot, and then Taron Johnson for sure.
I like it. Best of luck to you, Summer. We'll see you next week. Caleb has Bond or Edwards at linebacker.
I know we both like Edwards. I think I'm leaning Edwards here. Matchup wise, Bond had such a great start, but I think it is kind of coming back to earth a little bit. I think Edwards is really one of the true studs at linebacker still for IDP. He's got the tackle floor and he's got the big play upside. So I'm going TJ Edwards here.
And what I like about the Bears is they don't mess around with snaps, like alternating snaps. TJ Edwards has played almost every single snap this season for the Bears defense. He's only been coming off in blowouts. And so get that volume, just chase it. Chase that volume. That's the name of the game in IDP.
Yep.
Warcloud, welcome back. Needing two of these. Spillane, we talked about. Logan Wilson, Quay Walker, or Josie Jewell. 3 points for reaching 10 combined tackles. So there's kind of a high tackle floor there for you. So who has the best chance of reaching that one?
I'm trying to think of the matchups for all these guys this week. I mean, if Spillane's going, I'm starting Spillane, especially if you want the tackles. Logan Wilson, it's tough to not go Logan Wilson. They're playing Vegas. I just wonder how much Vegas is going to be running the ball this week against Cincinnati. I probably would go Wilson, Spillane, and then something's telling me Jewell's going to have a big week, if not, this week, next week kind of thing. I think he's going to kind of get going here. You know what, though? I think this week I'm going Spillane if he's healthy. And I'm going to go Quay. Just because with, that Lions matchup, like Dan Campbell's going to want to run the ball down their throat. I think the opportunity is going to be there. If Spillane's healthy, give me Spillane. Then I'm going Quay just because of the rushing offense that they're playing.
Only hesitation there is Quay Walker is kind of dinged up. Only played, 20% last week. Is Carolina's game later? If we can pivot, I just want to have a safety valve there in case we need to pivot to a different.
They're in the first slate. Yeah.
So that's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, so I would kind of see what any injury reports and stuff like that. I know Spillane plays early. Logan Wilson, they play early as well.
So Quay did clear the concussion protocol. Like how concussions are in the NFL. So it was 20% snaps with the concussion last week. I mean, Quay's, he's only gotten over 10 combined tackles twice, looks like, on the season, week 1 and week 6, but he's kind of always been flirting around there. 9 tackles week 5, 8 tackles week 4. So I think with Quay clearing, and he's played 100% snaps in every game, he hasn't gotten hurt. Like, I think I'm going Quay with that matchup.
So Big Bob Spillane and Quay Walker, and if Spillane isn't out in the early slate, then we're going to go Logan Wilson there. So
yeah,
perfect. All right. JP is back. Hey, good morning. Thanks in advance for I hope. Glad we started Highsmith last week. Yes, that was a fantastic game for Highsmith. Smith was back. So I got a couple of questions with this morning. Right now, I got Ernest Jones, Bond, Spillane, Kaiser, and Speed starting. Would you replace any of them with Jack Campbell or Troy Anderson? We've kind of mentioned Spillane's possible dinged up here. We're about an hour out of getting that call that he plays in the early game. Ernest Jones had a neck questionable missing practice, so he's possibly out. Just looking up at game times here, we've got Seattle playing at 3:25, so that's a later window game. When do the Falcons play?
See if I can find the problem with Troy Anderson. So he's in the first slate too against Dallas. He's banged up too, right? Like he's still questionable with the knee, I think, this week. So I feel like you're kind of replacing one of these guys with maybe the same situation with Anderson. If Anderson plays, he's showed the upside certainly there. I mean, the last time he played, I think he had 16 tackles. So, and then 12 the week before. So if Anderson's going, he definitely is a solid option to sub in there.
I kind of like how they're set right now, unless we hear differently from if we hear different about Spillane's status for the week. So
yeah, I'm with you there. Keep what you have unless
so,
we get some injury news.
Yeah, let's stick with that right now, JP. And then if something happens, we can pivot to Campbell in for Spillane. But if Spillane is active, we got to play him. So wide receiver 2, Amari Cooper, Pop Douglas, or Michael Wilson.
I'm going Amari Cooper here all the way, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we saw what he could do with being on the team for a number of days without presumably, learning the playbook. I think he still put up like WR1 numbers essentially for fantasy. I know he got a touchdown. So pretty easily Amari Cooper for me here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yep. I did, Pop Douglas with Drake May back under center, but Cooper's upside just oozes with opportunity there. So JP is benching Cross and Lake for Morrig and Damari Richards at safety. A mistake. Benching Cross is tough, but I get it with their matchup this week. They've got the Vikings, who aren't a very good matchup for opposing safeties, but Cross has just been finding a way to get it done. I've kind of mentioned the Damini Richardson already with the floor there. Are we getting too cute here, Jax?
I think so. I still think Nick Cross is like a top, maybe not top 5, but definitely top 10 DB option in IDP. He's just been he's honest. He's been pretty matchup proof so far in terms of his production. Just looking through it now, like 100% of snaps every week. His lowest total so far as a DB is 5 tackles in week 5, but then it's 7, 9, 8, 10, 14, 15. Like he's just been putting up tackles every week. So I'm hesitant to bench Cross for either of those guys right now. Yeah.
Same. And I love Lake's high floor that he's had this year. He gets a great matchup. I can't Jason bench Cross and Lake for those two options. Just consistency. We've gotten to this point with the season with them, and they putting up pretty good track record. If you start them, you're smarter than I am. That's where I'm going with that. So Z51 starting 4 of these in a big play scoring. Foye, Eric Hendricks, Spillane, Wagner, Edwards, and Williams. So we're basically sitting 2 of these. Spillane would be in unless he gets out. Got a lot of great options here.
Yeah. I don't think you can sit Wagner, right? Playing the Giants, big play. I think that one's out of the question. That's tough.
Williams is probably the most vanilla flavor on there, so he would probably be a sit for me.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Sit Williams. And then it's probably looking at the matchup for the rest of these guys. Kendricks has Atlanta.
Which isn't a great matchup, and he's got a questionable tag too.
Yeah. I mean, Spillane, that injury looked rough last week, but then he came back and played and dominated. So It's just tough with him. I almost say him just because of the injury hesitancy kind of surrounding Spillane. But when Spillane's going, it's so hard to sit him. Yeah.
I think I'm with you. I'm gonna lean start Spillane unless we hear different. If Spillane sits, then pivot to Kendricks. But I'm gonna go Spillane, Wagner, Edwards, and Foye here. I'm gonna sit Kendricks.
I'm with you. Yeah.
Kendricks and Williams. So best of luck to you, Z. I need a defensive tackle upgrade. Have Matabike in my roster. On the waiver is BJ Hill, Odingo Zingwa, Dante Wyatt, or Gaja. What do you guys think? Tackle for would be helpful in my weekly scoring. Wyatt, this is going to be one of those cases where you make a move and then Matabike goes on a run.
Yeah. And he is still so solid. I mean, it's tough when I guess it's week 9 now, but I don't know if I'd be panicking on Matabike quite yet. I think there's still time for him to kind of have some big weeks. I don't love any of those names compared to him as well. Wyatt doesn't really have the tackle floor you'd probably want. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I don't think BJ Hill would either.
No, and he scares me now that Hutchinson is gone, and until they address getting something else, I think opposing offensive lines can kind of focus on them. They don't have that Aiden Hutchinson effect where he makes everyone better. I'm gonna stick with Madubuike here. I don't see anything that makes those other options more enticing. I think the upside with Madubuike is the way to roll here.
I'm with you.
Perfect. Christian Ellis or Verse at defensive lineman. Ellis is defensive eligible on Sleeper. We've been hammering the cheat code all morning long. I don't think there are many options better than Ellis, outside of TJ Watt, who's on a bye, Highsmith, who's on a bye. Ellis just seems like a cheat code now and he's been getting increased snaps. He's up to like 50, 56, 52 snaps a game. I don't see a reason that you can take away that high floor.
Lock in Ellis is what I say. Yep. I'm with you.
We're going to get t-shirts made up, Jacks. Ben wants to know, do we start Jerome Baker this week? After the trade, he was a healthy scratch last week. I kind of want to see a week of him before I roll him out. Tennessee was a little reluctant even to get Ernest Jones going. It took him 2-3 weeks to get going. I don't know what your other options are, Ben, but with only 2 teams on a bye, I think there's a lot of great options, safer options, heading into week 9. So Ben, if you're still around, you got some options to give us over Baker. I'd like to see them.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jeff. The floor is too low on that one right now.
Yep. Jeffrey Simmons still good? Yes, he is. Do I start Dodson versus the Rams, Bernard versus Miami this week at linebacker? Thanks, guys. So we kind of already talked about Simmons off to the slow start. Jack, you alluded to that, kind of getting things picked up and around here. That Tennessee team is going to be an interesting one going forward. They're kind of on a fire sale. They're, no quarterback, just traded away DeAndre Hopkins. They're making moves in the linebacker room, stuff like that. So Simmons is still, I think, a guy that they build around. I don't think he's available for trade. I know teams have asked about it, but I think he's still a good piece. So linebackers, who you got, Dodson or Bernard?
I think I'm going Bernard. He's coming back from that injury, obviously, but he's a guy when healthy, he's usually putting up close to double-digit tackles. It's just health-wise with him, I guess, if he's ready to go 100%. It looks like the latest report says he's kind of past his ankle issue, so I think Bernard's the guy that jumps out there for me.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm there too. So. Boys, remember, thoughts on picking up TK Smith this week and playing him tomorrow? I know that Antonio Winfield Jr. cleared, so he's going to play, which takes a lot of luster off TK. So not a terrible stash, but not someone who I think, especially in the secondary, can trust right now. So
I'm with you.
Quentin Lake disappointed last week. Yes, him and Cameron Curl both did. Would you start Lake or Blackman? I appreciate your response. Blackman has not been playing great alignment, with this Colts defense and stuff like that. It's kind of maddening, especially after the season they had last year. I think we're both smashing Lake's high floor and matchup this week.
Absolutely. Yeah, give me Quentin Lake here.
Trigger Finger wants to know Flacco or Trevor Lawrence this week.
That's so tough. I don't like that Eagles matchup for Trevor or any really Jags offensive player. I think Joe Flacco. Just like he's kind of the Terminator out there. He's passing it for like 300 yards still when he plays. So I might actually go Flacco this week, just given the tough matchup for Trevor.
Yep, I'm with you 100%. Flacco's our guy. Braden Fisk or Madubuike. Then I had TK Smith off concussion protocol. Sounds like he's good to go for Monday Night Football. Should I start TK Smith or Jason Sehorn? JC Horn. Who do you got in that first one between Fisk? Yeah,
I'm still going Madubuike. Fisk, they're just kind of, he's obviously a rookie. He hasn't played over, it looks like 60% snaps since week 3. So he's actually kind of going down in terms of playing time. I think that's obviously tough for the floor. So I'm going to go Matabike for that first question.
100% agree.
Yeah, because I think he's got to get going at some point too, right? Like he had such a good season last year. Could be tonight. Hopefully he gets to the quarterback. But I'm going Matabike there. Second one's a bit tougher for me, maybe.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to lean J.C. Horn. I think playing against the Saints this week, a little more pass-heavy offense, Carr's back under center. I think he's going to be a better option. Just coming off a concussion, I think they might slow roll him into their starting lineup. Players coming off I just want to see it always a week when I have players coming off of an injury. That's just me personally.
And Tyke's he played week 7 last, right? And it was like he got hurt that week. So you think he'll probably come back and have less snaps now because of Winfield being back, I guess, eh?
Yeah, and the reason he played as much as he did is because Winfield was dealing with an injury of his own. So I think we're gonna go with the safe floor there.
I get that. No, I'm with you.
Alvaro wants to know, Quentin Lake disappointed. Would you roll with? Oh, did we just do? Yeah. Oh, this is different. Almost the exact same question as we just had previous. So Lake did disappoint.
Diabate. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. So here's our Lake disappointed, Laker Blackman.
Yeah.
And then disappointed Laker Blackman. Also thoughts on Diabate. Yeah. So I think we're still rolling with Lake here.
Yeah.
And then I like Diabate. There's some leagues that he's defensive line eligible. And so we talked about that cheat code part, with Christian Ellison. And so I think, Diabate, you probably could do worse at the linebacker position. And especially if he's defensive line eligible, he's a smash start. He's kind of in that cheat code realm for me.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm in total agreement. It just makes it even better if he has that eligibility, but even at linebacker, good start.
Bernard or Buddha in a tackle-heavy league?
Buddha's been so good lately. It's tough. That makes it difficult. I think I'm still going Bernard here, though. If it's a tackle-heavy league, I still would rather play the linebacker, even when you have those DBs like Buddha that are putting up the production and getting the tackles. As long as Bernard's healthy, he's still like a top 10 kind of linebacker for me, maybe even higher than that. So I think I'm leaning Bernard here, Jeff.
I am as well, especially with that matchup versus Miami. With Tua under center, they're a much more efficient offense, a lot more opportunities. I can see this being a really heavy, high-scoring game. Both Miami and Buffalo need to win in the division, but both teams play a high volume of snaps. So I think Bernard for me. So,
yeah.
Lunch Table Legend. I love that name. That's awesome. Ernest Jones questionable. I feel like he's going to be limited if he plays. Any recommendations? Dorian Williams, Quay Walker, Josie Jewell, Max on waivers. I think the safe one there is probably Josie Jewell for a floor play.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's coming back. They're going to need him to play at 100% kind of every down and roll. Like I said earlier, I do like Quay Walker with the Lions matchup. And if he's back and healthy, he should be playing 100% snaps too. So, I might push back a little bit and say that there is some good upside with Quay Walker there as well. But Josie being healthy, I think he's probably the safer option here. Ultimately, I think I'd go with Josie.
And I can see this being a game script game as well. New Orleans should be winning early and often. Could be a lot of Kamara running the ball. Josie Jewell just soaking up tackles for that third quarter. So if you're into the game script narrative. So cutting down the nets wants to know Amari Cooper or D-Hop. Don't know if it's PPR or touchdown heavy. I think Cooper's the answer either way.
I'm going Cooper. Yeah, I love that fit with Josh Allen. I think he's going to be a really good option going forward.
Thanks, BK. Appreciate it. Yes, we appreciate all of you guys checking in every morning. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. It really helps us out. We would appreciate that. Lunch Table Legends, do you think Jones will be limited? Yeah, he did have the next stuff, but he's probably going to play. Not Jones. Jones did not practice on Friday. So questionable going in there. Those neck injuries can be kind of a scary thing. So please make sure you check those inactives. Christian Ellis or Mafe. I am all in. I'm probably drinking the Kool-Aid on Christian Ellis just because of the cheat code. He's been playing a ton of snaps. that tackle floor is so high playing that linebacker role, but getting that defensive line eligibility. Maffei's had a couple clunkers in a row. He's probably going to break out this week now that we say that, but give me Ellis here.
And the matchup's good too, right? With everything else aside, with the cheat code too, they got Tennessee. So, give me Ellis as well.
Z51 wants to know Winfield Cross, Taylor, Bryant, TK, Marcus Jones, 1 point, 10 points, or 10 yards for return yards. Need to start 4. So of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, who are you sitting?
So has Marcus Jones primarily been returning kicks?
He did last week. Yeah, he did last week, and he had a couple of decent returns. So that's why his name popping up here. TK is probably off the list here for me, just because these other names are so much safer coming off the option. For me, it would be between Winfield, Cross, and Bryant are in for sure for me. So now it's coming between. Is that Cam Taylor Britt? I'm not sure.
Taylor, yeah.
Winfield, Cross, and Bryant for me. I'm probably going to lean the hot hand to Marcus Jones.
Is that maybe Alontae Taylor he's talking about?
Oh, yeah. Okay, that could be for the Saints. He's
been solid too. Like he
gets Carolina this week though.
Yeah, that's true. Matchup's a bit tough. Yeah. He has been good. Just in terms of production, he's been getting sacks, he's been getting tackles every week, but I think I'm probably sitting Tyke and him off the bat, just because it's kind of fun with the kick return yards of Marcus Jones. Be cool to watch. Yeah.
Yep. Good luck to you, Z. Jalen Coker, Gabe Davis, or Nick Westbrook-Akina. Man, Coker's been a hot name this week, right? I mean, Gabe Davis got a tough matchup. I saw a report that Brian Thomas Jr. might be playing, so that maybe takes a little bit of love off of him. I know that Christian Kirk got injured with a shoulder. He's out.
I honestly don't think – I think with the Jags, the injuries there with like Christian Kirk, I don't really think that even affects Gabe Davis that much because they got a young guy in Parker Washington who they call up, and he basically plays that Kirk role. So I think Gabe Davis is still going to be Gabe Davis. If Brian Thomas is out, I think there's maybe an uptick there for Gabe Davis. But if Brian Thomas is playing, like I really don't like starting Gabe Davis, to be totally honest. Yeah. I think it's between Nick Westbrook-Akine or Coker for me. Westbrook-Akine is probably the safer play, just for me, with D-Hop being gone now. Burks is out, right? So he's locked into a good role alongside Ridley. But the upside there with Coker is interesting. I think I'm still going Nick Westbrook here.
I'm agreeing with you too, and I think you set it up great there, Jax, too, saying if you need to just save points, go with Westbrook-Akine. He's been getting a lot of target shares. He's been getting touchdowns every week, which has been maddening. But if you need a home run, maybe start sniffing the Coker there a little bit. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Aaron needs to know Eric Kendricks or Logan Wilson this week at linebacker.
I think I'm going Logan Wilson there, just with the Kendricks matchup. Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm going to go Curl there over Bynum. Bynum's snap alignment is too deep for me. Curl's going to have a bounce back week. So I'm going Curl as well. Good luck to Aaron. Yep. Morning, guys. Non-IDP starts sit. We got 2 points for PPR for tight ends here. Hunter Henry today or risk Bucky Irvin on Monday night?
I'm still risking Bucky Irving Monday night just because with this turf toe injury, it sounds like something he's going to play through the rest of the season. And I assume he kind of would have been playing through it last week when he still looks really good to me. So it makes it a bit tougher with the premium there for tight end, but I think I'm still leaning Bucky Irving. He should put, double-digit points up for you kind of thing in fantasy, I think still. Yeah, I'm with you there too. The path to snaps and path to touches is much better for Irvin. So yeah. Thank you for checking us out. Fantasy Sports got a couple questions here. Linebacker one. Start which 3 linebackers? Aluakon, Franklin, Jewell, or Henley? Who you sitting of that group? I'm sitting Henley. Olulukon, even with the weird snap stuff,
Yep.
he's got the potential to be a top linebacker every week just because of his tackling efficiency. Zaire Franklin, I think he's leading the league in tackles right now at linebacker, so that's an easy one. Josie Jewell, we've talked about him. I think he'll be bouncing back in a healthy role. So those are the three I'm going with.
Perfect. At safety, he wants to know Hamilton, Lake, or Newbin. Hamilton's for sure in.
Yeah. I'm going Lake here.
Floor is new. Yeah. Safe floor,
Yeah.
I was going to say Newbin. He's just been really consistent, but he doesn't offer anything for splash plays. So I'm going to go with Lake as well. Yeah. Best of luck, fantasy sports. Soko wants to know, need two of these three: Ernest Jones, Bobby Okereke, or Jordan Brooks. I'm assuming for Miami. So,
Jones has the injury stuff, makes it a bit tougher.
Yeah, Okereke has been a huge disappointment this season as far as snaps go. Brooks is for sure, and he's been the linebacker to play every week in Miami.
Yeah. I think I'm playing Ernest Jones if he's healthy.
Okereke.
You're going Okereke?
Okay. I'm going to go Okereke. I think that matchup in Washington, they play enough snaps. The Commanders have been doing really well with snaps with Jay Daniels under center. So I'm going to go Okereke and Brooks this week. I can't risk all of a sudden Ernest Jones being inactive or playing a couple plays and then coming out. So
that's fair. It's always a wise move.
Getting to that point in the season, we can't be taking single digits in our lineup. So
nope.
In league where we only play one IDP, the answer is to leave that league. Oh wait, no. Most of the top dogs are rostered. If you had to choose one, which player would you go to? Pace Jr. Yeah, so only playing one, there is so many options. Ivan Pace is probably a decent option there for you. Again, not knowing tackle heavy, scoring format or anything like that makes it a little more challenging to say, hey, start this guy. But you can't do worse than Ivan Pace. I think he's a top 12 option at the position. He's in line with a great matchup. So keep rolling him out.
With you there.
And talk to your commissioner about getting more IDPs in your lineup. That's a travesty, only starting one. So
at least 4, I'd say.
Yeah. Good afternoon. You need 2 linebackers here: Trevin Wallace, Mohamed Diabate, Frankie Louvu, or Sternad. Balanced scoring. Diabate for me right away.
Yeah.
The other one is tough just because Trevin Wallace isn't the same with Josie Jewell there. Louvu is so sacked heavy because he just plays so weird, such a Micah Parsons role in that defense. And Sternad has not played the volume of snaps. He's been efficient, but he's only been getting 60-70% of snaps, which is a little worrisome. So yeah,
he's been putting up numbers with the limited snaps. My gut's telling me to go with Frankie Louvu just with the matchup. Like you said, the alignment's weird, and he does kind of play that hybrid pass rusher role sometimes. But I think there will be opportunity against the Giants and Daniel Jones. So I think I'm going Louvu.
Yep, and he was going to be my next name. So glad we agreed there. That helps.
Beautiful.
Us out. Workload, appreciate you. Thank you, JP. Always a pleasure to help out. Friend of the show. What's up, guys? Who do I roll out? IDP Overshown, Jonathan Cooper, or Mohamed Diabate? Diabate's been my flavor of the week this week. I just think that with JOK on IR, Jordan Hicks has been ruled out this week already. He wore the green dot last week in relief of JOK. He's going to rock it again this week. I know that green dot isn't indicative of like IDP performance, but it keeps him on the field, and that's huge. So my second would be Overshown there. I love what he's been doing with Dallas, and he might be a great play if Kendricks isn't good to go, but give me the guaranteed snaps with Diabate.
Yeah, linebackers are the edge players that we talked about for sure.
Yep. Good day, gentlemen. Tyler Newbin, Grant Delpit, or Demir Hamlin. Pick one, please. I'm going Newbin.
I'm going Newbin too. Yeah.
Hamlin's a cool story. Delpit, like we mentioned earlier, should be doing much more than he is, but we just haven't seen it from him.
Not there yet. No.
Yeah. Thanks, JP, for the question. Matt, out of TJ Edwards, Jermaine Pratt, and Ivan Pace, who do you sit? Whew, that is loaded.
It's a tough list. I'm not sitting Pace, but he's just so good with the 100% snaps with Cashman out.
Yep.
I'm locking him in as a starter, I think.
And I'm not
Jermaine,
sitting Edwards this week with the matchup,
yeah,
and Pratt gets Vegas, and that's scary. That could be ugly quick. So,
I agree. I'm sitting Pratt.
all right. Great question. Great drafting by you, Matt. Nice job. Soko wants to know picking 3 of these: Quinton Lake, DeMar Hamlin, Jalen Thompson. Pick 2 of these 3. I'm going to go the bookends here: Quinton Lake and Thompson. Thompson's been having a quiet, good season.
Same way. I'm with you.
All right, perfect. Oh, we got a $5 super chat. Thanks, Josh. Super sticker. Ooh, that's a heavy one. Hey, 1.5 point PPR in a tight end premium league. Who you got, Elijah Moore or Hawkinson off of injury tonight?
Is Hawkinson going to be playing, healthy snaps first week back, do we think? Because that's the question, I feel like, right? If he is, I'm going Hawkinson.
Yep. All reports have been really positive about him. The tight end premium makes it even. He doesn't have to do as much even to perform, so Elijah Moore, we saw, got a little bit better last week with Winston under center. I still think that offense runs through Tillman. I think he's his go-to guy. He's the guy he looks to. Hopefully we'll probably see a little more Jerry Jeudy involved. And then they still got David Njoku there. Whereas, Hawkinson doesn't have as much for competition for snaps. Like, he's got Justin Jefferson, obviously, but like even Jordan Addison isn't the target monster that that Moore has to compete with. And I think Hawkinson in the tight end premium. I think let's roll the dice.
I'm with you. I think the upside's there for sure. If he's playing and he's even remotely healthy, yeah, he's the guy.
All right. Appreciate all the super chats today. That's fantastic. We appreciate that. So, all right, let's get back into our IDP questions here. Best of luck to you, Josh. We've got, we just answered that one. We went with Quinton Lake and Jalen Thompson. Big Bankhead wants to know Ventrell Miller or Javon Bullard at your flex. So, obviously, with Foye Lukan coming back into the fold, it's been taking a big hit to the other linebackers. Basically, Ventrell Miller and Devin Lloyd split snaps once Lukan came back last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really feel super confident about trusting one of those 2 at this time. Bullard is still playing at a decent amount of snaps. They get a great matchup versus Detroit. We've been preaching snaps is the way to go. Who are you trusting here, Jax?
I'm going Bullard for like you just said. We've been preaching snaps, and even with Miller, he's looked awesome when he's played. But not only is Foye back, it's just tough some weeks with this Jags defense. Like, there's not really any rhyme or reason as to why guys are coming out at times. I find like he's just kind of cycling players. So I just another one of those ones where if you're watching Ventrell Miller, hoping he's going to get you points, it could kind of be a bit of a hair puller, seeing Devin Lloyd and Foye out there all the time. So, just for like the floor there, and then maybe your own sanity when you're watching, I go Bullard for sure.
I'm with you there too. I think that's a great call. Herb, we got a quarterback question here. Bo Nix, Baker Mayfield, or Caleb Williams? So, Bo Nix kind of has had a coming out party as of late.
Mayfield's been probably the best option in terms of like the full season outlook, right? But love what Bo did last week.
Receivers.
Yeah, like Bo Nix Bo Nix has Baltimore too, so it's like that's a tough situation as well. I think it's pretty easily Caleb for me here, just given that he has the Cardinals, and they're a top 5 matchup for quarterbacks. Give me Caleb Williams there.
Lunch table's back. Ernest Jones, if he's questionable with a neck injury, that's why I had to alter this. Yep, totally agree with you. Sorry, first time, didn't know where to post. Oh, also, so that's why it was 2 guys had the same question. That's
there you go.
So, no worries. Rather answer it twice. That way we have a better chance of getting it right. Asher Piper wants to know, just need one between Mac Wilson, Myles Garrett, assuming Buckner, or Van Noy. So a little bit different here with 2 different positions. So it's always a little tougher to navigate that. Van Noy's been having a great season. DeForest Buckner has kind of gotten healthy and coming back here a little bit. My Mac Wilson's a great story. He's been a decent option. Garrett Wilson's been disappointing, but he's just one of those players that I think any given week can just kind of make it happen and right the ship. I would have a hard time sitting Myles Garrett. Pretty decent matchup versus the Chargers this week.
I like Mac too, and like the linebacker, the consistency, we've talked about that, but he's had a couple down weeks in a row. So I think at that point, I'd definitely be going Myles Garrett here. It's hard to sit him.
Yeah. Okay. Start your studs.
Yeah, exactly.
If Ernest Jones is out, would you pick Wagner, Bernard, Bond, Jewell, or Karake? 7 points for a sack, 1.35 for a tackle, 0.8 for a tackle for loss. Alternatively, would you do better at the rest of the season? So these are some fantastic options. I might pivot to Wagner regardless. He's been getting a lot of run as far as like a pass rushing up the middle. The Giants have been giving up a ton of sacks. Daniel Jones has just been a gift to opposing linebackers, I think, with the sacks department. So I might start Wagner outright here over Ernest Jones and not even have to worry about the questionable tag.
I think Wagner is like a top 5 option for IDP in general this week, honestly. Like I think it's a great situation. He's got the consistency every week anyways, but with that matchup, it's definitely Wagner for me.
Perfect. And I do like Wagner the rest of the season. That Washington Commanders offense has been clicking enough to make them relevant. And we see when good offenses are on the field, the opposite, the defense that does pretty well as well. So yeah, good question. Great lineup to have to pick from every week. That's almost an embarrassment of riches. So Juan has to pick a wide receiver 2 and a tight end. So Wendell Robinson, Josh Downs, DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers, or Daryl Mooney. So there's some great wide receiver 2 options. If I can't sit DJ Moore. We just kind of mentioned how Arizona has been a team to attack through the air. And so DJ Moore is probably my option there. But man, Daryl Mooney and Josh Downs make some great options.
Well, and Flacco starting makes it kind of tough too, just in the sense that like Josh Downs has just gone off with Joe Flacco. So there is a bit of an argument there, but I'm with you. Like with those names, I don't think you can sit DJ Moore. Even in that like loaded Chicago offensive wide receiver room, I think he's still the de facto kind of like the wide receiver 1. So I'm going DJ Moore.
And then a little bit of a tight end here question. We got some options here at tight end. Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Hill, Likely, or Disley. So
it's tough. I'm almost leaning big Mike Gesicki in a weird way. I think he's been kind of getting more involved the past few weeks. Henry, he's always going to be more of a focal point in that Patriots offense. I always worry about, those bad offenses, like just guys even being able to get the opportunity to get the ball. I think I might go Gesicki this week.
I'm with you too. And with Higgins possibly being out, Gesicki might become that second option.
Yep.
In that
I didn't even think about that. So. Good point. Yeah.
And Zach Moss is out this week, so I think we see a lot of passing out of the Bengals this week. Check downs to Chase Brown and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Who would you drop off the bench? I can make some space for a defense. Unfortunately, I can't drop Ertz because I need him to cover Kittle's bye. Jacoby Myers, ETN, Daryl Mooney, Alexander Madison, or Wendell Robinson.
It's a tough one. Madison kind of looks like he's like the starting running back now for I would have said Madison earlier in the season, but he looks like he's the starter. Can't really drop him.
For me, I think it's Wendell Robinson with Neighbors there. I don't see a week where Wendell Robinson would jump Mooney or Myers for a starting spot. So if those are your bench spots, Wendell is already behind those 2 guys. And if those 2 guys are on your bench and you have this kind of tough question, Juan, I would rather drop him and take him out of the equation. Madison could probably be an option at running back. If you have an injury, ETN is still kind of slowly making his way back here to being relevant. So
yeah,
for me, it's Wendell Robinson.
I'm with you. Yeah, he's the one that sticks out in that list.
So Jackson, you're a Jacksonville fan. What's the story with ETN right now?
He's just been hurt really the whole season. The one thing I'll say is like Bigsby's not going anywhere. He's been really good this year. I think when ETN comes back in terms of like the fantasy outlook, that is going to be an issue because they're going to keep giving Tank the ball. It's going to be like a lightning and thunder situation. So, but once ETN's back and actually healthy, I think he'll still be a solid option. He's just not going to be that like top 5, top 10 people were kind of drafting him for at the beginning of the season.
Sure. Yeah. That Jake's team has been kind of a disappointing one this season. So
it's brutal, man.
MDH has Bernard, speed, pace. Need to start two. Currently thinking speed and pace. Pace for sure.
Pace for sure. And we talked about speed earlier. He's kind of the unsung hero. Like Zaire Franklin's still a big name, but honestly, speed's been outproducing him a lot of weeks. The floor is really good with speed as well. I do like Bernard a lot, but just in terms of how they both have produced this year, I think I am okay going speed and pace there and sitting Bernard.
Yep, I think you're spot on there, MDH. Good call. Chargers defense or Patriots defense?
Who do the Chargers have again?
Chargers get the Browns, and New England gets the Titans. I think I'm leaning New England here. I think that Tennessee offense doesn't scare me as much. Tony Pollard is kind of questionable coming into the game. They might be starting Julius Chestnut at their running back spot. So, love me some Chestnut, but it might be
give me the Patriots. Yeah.
Start Christian Ellis, Keon White, or Ojolari. I think Christian Ellis has been our de facto answer here today just because of the position.
We get our shirts made, like we said. Christian Ellis, he's our guy. We'll keep saying it. So Christian Ellis.
Rubber stamping it. Rogu wants to get messed out on Sherwood. Yeah, he had a nice game on Thursday night. Blackman or Metellus, Henley or Burns. I need a big swing.
Okay. Swing. I'll start with Henley and Burns. If you're swinging, like I feel like the big play upside with the guy like Brian Burns and his tackle floor is not too bad. There is that worry with a matchup against a guy like Daniels, though, with his elusiveness. Is he going to get to Jaden Daniels? Even if he's winning his matchup at the line, right? It's like, is the finish going to be there? The big swing, though, with the big swing, you're making me want to go Burns there, just with the upside of a premier edge rusher, for sure.
No, I'm with you, too. I was thinking big swing with Burns there. And then who do we think in between Blackman or Metellus? We got, Blackman obviously he's got a decent matchup.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I would go Metellus there. I know that some of the alignment stuff's been weird this year, but I think he just moves around the field a bit more. He might have a better opportunity for a big play. Because they kind of use him as like a weird hybrid linebacker too sometimes, right? In that system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And without Cashman there, that might be a chance for a little more relevance there. So we're going to go big play, big swing. We're going to go Burns and Metellus there.
I like it.
Good luck, Roguru. Matt's back with another question. Jermaine Pratt or TJ Edwards at linebacker? I think we're leaning TJ Edwards this week.
Yeah.
And then at defensive back, we got Cam Curl, Trayvon Morrig, or Marlon Humphrey. It's tough to start a cornerback over a safety for me, so I'm going to lean Cameron Curl here. I think he has a solid week versus Seattle.
I think people are a little scared of him and Lake just because of what happened last week, but both those guys are really solid, and I'd start kind of both of them, no questions asked.
Yeah. Nick's got a Kyle Duggar questionable versus a weak Tennessee team. Metellus versus Indy in a medium matchup. Kobe Bryant in LA with a good matchup, but he plays a little deeper. Need one. I actually like the Kobe Bryant. Him and Love have been kind of splitting 40% deep, so they kind of have a good rotation there. But Kyle Duggar is a tough sit.
He is a tough sit. Never one you like to sit.
Yeah.
I think I'm playing the matchup here. I really like Kyle Duggar. I think I am playing the matchup here, though. I'm going Kobe Bryant, just given that they have the Rams with the volume there. I think he'll get some good opportunity tonight.
Yeah, Duggar did get in. They get a limited practice all week, so he's not he's probably trending towards playing, but I think that weak side. But yeah, I think you're right. I'm going Kobe Bryant as well.
Is there any risk they sit Duggar too because of the trade stuff? There's been some rumors he might be on the block. Like, I don't know.
I can't see them getting. He's kind of a cornerstone for that defense.
Yeah.
I just think he's a piece to build around rather than move on from. So
I'm with you ultimately there. Yeah.
Yeah. Roy has 3 linebackers. Who would you play first and second and third? Jordan Brooks, Terrell Dotson, Pete Werner. Oof. Pete Werner is an easy third for me in there.
Yeah.
I like Terrell Dotson this week now with the news that Ernest Jones is kind of banged up. So he might become my 1. Jordan Brooks would be my 2, and Werner would be my 3rd.
I'm totally in agreement with you there.
Perfect. You're making this easy, Jax. We got to have you back on more often.
Great minds.
Ryan needs. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll go with that then. Starting Brian Robinson Jr. or Jacoby Myers full PPR flex spot. Just saw Brian Robinson didn't look hot during stretches 3 minutes ago. Yeah, he was kind of dinged up, questionable. I know they activated Jeremiah Nichols from the practice squad, elevated him. That's never a good sign. So Jacoby Myers looked really good last week. He's kind of the only option now outside of Brock Bowers in that passing offense. So I think Jacoby Myers is a full steam ahead here, Ryan.
Yep. And Minshew does kind of like the target. I guess like Bowers is the de facto 1, but Minshew will kind of hyper target those main options, I find. So, yeah, I think I'd go Jacoby Myers here.
And we could be in a game script situation where they're going to have to throw a lot playing against Cincinnati. So let's go that route. Bobby wants to know, who are you starting at tight end, Kincaid, Henry, or Hill?
Start your stud. I'm going Kincaid here.
Same. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see a situation where you wouldn't want to start him. You know, he's kind of lost a little bit of luster with the acquisition of Amari Cooper, but that might provide more quality targets too in the red zone.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Yep. JP, we kind of mentioned this earlier too about playing only one IDP it just makes it too hard, too many options. You got to have deeper rosters, deeper starting alignments. So listen to JP. She knows what she's talking about. Roy, 2 defensive ends out of these 3, Jeffrey Simmons, Dante Fowler, or Zeus Al-Shire. So Ojulari has been our flavor of the week this week. I'm going to take the first 2, Simmons and Ojulari.
Yeah. So sit Fowler. Yeah, I'm with you. Jeffrey Simmons, like the production, like I mentioned earlier, hasn't really been there all season, but I think you kind of saw last week, like he had a boom week. It's, the Patriots this week. I'm totally comfortable starting Simmons in that matchup and kind of starting, the stud in that sense. So yeah, give me Aziz, give me Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah. Fowler was on kind of a heater there for a couple weeks, but he's kind of cooled off, and he didn't have a great matchup the first time versus the Giants. So I'm going to lean that way. So,
and the snaps have been weird too. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. IDP doctor. Hey guys, lost JOK. Need him to replace. He'll be without him for a couple weeks. Need to find a replacement in big scoring options. Overshown, Diabate, Jewell, or Cooper. For me, if you need a home run, it's probably Cooper. But if you need a high safe floor, it's probably Jewell.
Yeah, I'm going Jewell. I get the argument with the upside with Cooper, but I just feel like Jewell's a guy that rest of the season you can kind of lean on as long as he's healthy. And that's a great replacement for JOK. Yeah, I'm going Jewell.
Perfect. Fantasy Sports, which 3 wide receivers? Hopkins, Waddle, Olave, Zay Flowers, or Devontae Smith? So we're sitting 2 of these.
Well, I'm definitely starting Waddle. Waddle, when Tua's playing, Waddle's a top option. I know he has his ups and downs, but like he's the kind of guy where if I'm a contender, and I'm looking to buy a piece and people are kind of fed up with the ups and downs with Waddle, I think Waddle's going to be really good with Tua. So Waddle pretty easily for me. Derek Carr's back. It's tough to sit Olave.
I can't sit Devontae Smith. Can you?
No, I think, you know what? Pretty easily for me, actually. You're starting 3. Go Waddle, Olave, and Smith. Zay Flowers, there's a lot of mouths to feed now, even with Deontay on limited snaps here as he's learning the playbook. Hopkins, kind of the same boat, right? Like he just got traded to the Chiefs last week. I think he'll be better this week for sure, and he's going to have some big weeks with Mahomes. But, for this week, give me Waddle, give me Olave, and give me Smith.
And Flowers has a really tough matchup versus Denver. That Denver defense is no joke. They got some lockdown corners.
They're legit, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
solid. Yep. Good question. Who would you drop, Lake or Newbin for Jalen Thompson, or Eric Williams or Bullard? Eric Williams and Bullard were both limited this week in practice, so I wouldn't be racing to the waiver to pick either of those two up, especially over Lake or Newbin. Those are great options. Jalen Thompson is an enticing one for Newbin for me, just because Newbin's just been kind of steady Eddie, never doing anything super flashy. I would maybe do the Newbin for Jalen Thompson, but I think that's probably more of just a move to make a move. I think it's a pretty push.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd even make the move here. Like if you're, I think I'd keep Lake and Newbin. I guess, it depends too in the format of the league and everything, but I don't know if that's a move you necessarily have to make right now.
Yep, I'm with you. Thank you, Josh, for the super chat. We appreciate that. Hopefully we got your question correct. 1 RB and a 1 flex. Devontae Smith, Tyrone Tracy, Jacobs, Downs, and Ridley. So looking at the running back spots, Tracy or Jacobs?
I'm going Jacobs here. Yeah, I just think Jacobs is, still a stud. I don't know. I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not sure how the matchup's been in terms of Detroit for running backs, but it's still that kind of, MO of just start your studs. I think Jacobs is still a top option at running back, so I don't like sitting him for Tyrone Tracy. Yeah.
I think too with Jordan Love being kind of dinged up with his groin, they might lean on him a little bit more to run
True.
game. It's going to be a wet game, so that's always a script for running backs. Ball security becomes a huge issue. So I think we're going to go with Jacobs there. And then at flex, I think for me, it comes between Devontae Smith or Tyrone Tracy. Tracy's just grabbed that starting spot in the Giants. He's got an obscene snap share. He's got great upside, both as a runner and as a receiver. I don't know if Devontae is needed a lot. Jacksonville, this game could be
I'm with you.
Crazy fast.
I'm with you as a Jags fan. I agree. With Smith, but I mean, there might be touchdown upside for Devontae Smith. I'll say today, just with the Jags secondary. He could be. I think he'd probably one of my favorite targets in terms of like guy scoring a touchdown this week. But with Downs and Ridley, it's interesting too because I mentioned Downs with Flacco. He just seems to those two have a great connection. And then Ridley looked great with Mason Rudolph last week, right? So that was his first kind of like big game. So. Yeah, I personally, I'm still going Devontae, I think. So the first part there, I'm going Jacobs at RB. I'm probably flexing Devontae Smith for me.
Yeah, and I don't think there's probably a wrong one for the flex between Tracy and Devontae, but if you're, more of a running back guy like myself, that's a Tracy call and just the guaranteed snaps, touches there. So
totally.
Ryan wants to know, he needs a flex one, Ramondre, Pittman, or Zay Flowers. Do we trust Pittman?
I don't love starting Ramondre here. Zay's interesting now with bringing in Deontay. Mark Andrews is getting more active in that offense as well. So, like you said, tough matchup as well. Zay's almost the one that I push aside there first. So it's between Michael Pittman and Ramondre for me. Something's not right with Pittman with that. He's got a back injury going right now, I think it is, right? And it's been like that for a couple of weeks. That's tough. I think I might actually go Ramondre just with the matchup.
Yep. I am too. I like that option. Like with Tennessee kind of banged up, we could see a Ramondre smash game here with looks close to the end zone. You're most welcome, Herb. Thank you. Trix wants to know Rico Dowdle, Justice Hill, ETN, or Javonte Williams this week.
I'm going Dowdle. We talked about it earlier in the show, but just with the situation with Zeke inactive this week, I don't think Dalvin Cook's that big of a threat to him yet, or if he'll ever be. I'm going Rico Dowdle.
Yep, I'm with you there. Same. Jay wants to know, what's up, homie? Everything is well. Jacobs or Tracy or Devontae Smith for my flex. So I think we kind of alluded to this already on a question very similar. We're gonna go Jacobs, I think. Guaranteed touches.
Absolutely. Jacobs all the way.
Best of luck to you, Jay. Yeah. Lake over Newbin if Curl is out.
Lake over Newbin if Curl is out.
I think it's Lake over Newbin, even if Curl is in.
That's what I was going to say. I know we talked a bit about having guys on the same team, and the floor can be a bit tough in that sense if it's a weird game script. But I think I'm still starting Lake over Newbin regardless. Yeah.
Yep. Good luck, Harry. Parsonator. So hopefully Parsonator gets back on the field here sooner than later too. He's not been playing much. If Ernest Jones is out, who should I pick up? Spillane, Nakobe Dean, Jewell, Dodson, or Van Ginkel? Wow, there's some great options on the
really good options
waivers there. So I would kind of, we've got that late window here. I think Jones is a decent play. Spillane does have an early game. Nakobe Dean's been playing pretty well. Is it easy just to say if Ernest Jones is not going to play, pick up Dodson, and you just pivot to Dodson?
I was going to say there's that timing element here, right? Because Spillane plays in the first slate. Jones is in that second slate. So if you're like waiting there, the safest, I think Dodson would be, I guess you could do Van Ginkel too, but I think I prefer to go linebacker if you're swapping our Ernest kind of thing. So I think Dodson might be the best option, just given the timing of the slates.
Do you worry about Ernest Jones if he isn't 100% but plays and kind of lays a clunker? Is that at all in your mind? Do you like pivot now to like a safe floor and Jewell?
I guess that's the thing. I like Spillane enough that if we get word before the game that he's like good to go, which I know is tough because he's kind of been on that injury report all week. I think Spillane's still the best option on that entire list. I think he's a top 5 option at linebacker this week if he's playing. So if we get word before the first slate here that Spillane's good to go, I think you just start Spillane and you don't even worry about the Dodson and Jones thing. That's my take on that.
Yeah, and we're minutes away right now too from getting the 12 o'clock games. We're only 90 minutes out, so we should start to see some of those inactive. So maybe that kind of gives us some clarity on those questions. But some great options on your waiver. So, Juice Man, pick one: Overshown, Dorian Williams, Troy Anderson, Poyer, or Bryant.
I'm going linebacker here again, just because I do still think. I mean, it does depend on scoring and everything too, but I usually will favor the linebackers. And I think I'm going Dorian Williams in this case. I like Troy Anderson a lot. I just want to see him out there for a game after coming back from that knee injury. He looked so good before it, but just the injury freaks me out a bit. I think I'm going Dorian Williams.
I love that matchup versus Miami. Been a great scoring team for linebackers, so love that call. Trix wants to know team defense: Chargers, Eagles, or Cardinals this week. Chargers got a matchup this week versus the Chargers get a matchup this week versus the Browns.
Cleveland.
Which Philly gets a matchup versus Jacksonville, and the Cardinals have a matchup versus the Bears. So all of those teams are options to get turnovers on. I like the Eagles this week myself.
Me too. Yeah. I don't. The one thing I'll say is the Jags offense has been going a little bit. They're starting to get going a little more as of late. Like their big issue is their defense at allowing points. On paper, it looks like the Browns are the best matchup, but now you got Jameis in there. I don't think it's that smash option that it says on paper, because with the quarterback change, I do think the offense is a lot better with Jameis. So I'm going Eagles here ultimately.
Yeah, same. Good luck to you, Trix. Khalil Shakir or Jaden Reed this week in a wide receiver spot here for Shua.
I think Reed's a stud here, and I lean Jaden Reed starting him. There is a bit of the question, like you said, it could be a wet game. Is it going to be kind of a running dominated kind of thing? But I think still you don't want to overthink these sometimes. And I like Shakir, but Reed's just a different tier. Go Reed.
Yep. And Green Bay Matt LaFleur manufactures touches for Reed in that offense. And I don't know that happens in Buffalo now with, James Cook became really relevant last week. You got Kincaid there. You obviously have Amari Cooper there. So a lot more mouths to feed. And I think that Shakir becomes a third or maybe even a fourth option in that offense now. So
Totally agree.
Xavier Worthy or Jalen Waddle all day
Waddle
for me.
He's going to be good with Tua, I think. So, yeah.
Slayton or Tillman for Phil. I've been all in on Tillman. I've been trying to pick him up everywhere I can, trade for him. He's J-Mo's guy.
He's got that
30 for 30 story.
Yeah, he's. I think Tillman's the way to go. He's got that kind of like the wide receiver one build and everything too. Like he could be a really good pickup in Dynasty. So, yeah, I'm going Tillman there as well.
Rodney, welcome. You're new to IDP. Well, hopefully we can help you out and get you going in the right direction. Jordan Whitehead or Jalen Thompson this week, or does he pick up Cameron Curl or Newbin? So all four are really solid options. We've been kind of, like hammer and Curl this week as like a bounce back candidate. Jax, do you like him better than Jalen Thompson this week?
I do. I think they're really like that tier of defensive backs is close. But I do like the upside, even just rest of season for Curl kind of thing, more than Jalen Thompson. So I'd pick up Curl myself. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, I think that we have to kind of have our blinders on and not worry so much about recency bias because, whatever happened last week was last week, and we've seen these players really be able to bounce back. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Kind of see where we're at with that. Brian Robinson did just get declared out. So Washington Commanders probably go Eckler. You got your McNichols kind of stacked there going. So
yeah.
Schefter did report that one. So whoops. Drake London, Chris Olave, or Terry McLaurin this week.
Pretty good options.
Very good options. I would rank them just how Laker Kid has them there. I'd go London, Olave, McLaurin.
I'm with you. Yeah. I think Drake London still offers the most upside. And, they got the Giants, I guess, with Terry. But, yeah, it's hard to sit Drake in that spot. Give me Drake London.
Yeah, that could be a game, too, that could get a pretty fun game to watch. Could be a potential for a lot of points being scored between them and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for the IDP and offense help. You are most welcome, Ryan. Going Newbin and Ramondre. Hopefully we'll see you back here with a dub. So thanks, Ryan. Kaiser White or Diabate at linebacker. Thanks for the insight, Clint. Two really good options. Kaiser White's been a full-time role, getting a lot of snaps. Diabate's kind of like that upside shot. I don't want to get too cute here. I'm going to go Kaiser White. I
agree. I was going to, you can think about matchups, this and that. I still think my perception hasn't changed much on Kaiser White. I really liked him before the season kind of thing. And production hasn't been quite what I wanted, I'd say. But he's still a guy that I'm going to start every week with confidence for sure.
Kind of getting some reports that Amari Cooper is out.
Whoa, that makes those Shakir questions a little more interesting then.
Yes, it does. Not positive. Just kind of trying to find confirmation on that. So interesting. So
yep, inactive due to a wrist.
Marcellus need an 8th starter. Okay. So now let's back up for 1 second here on that one. So does that change where was that question about?
It was Reed or Shakir. Yeah.
I still think it's Reed. I still got to be Reed.
I still think it's Reed. Yeah, I'm going Reed still.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, morning fellas, need an 8th starter in a big play scoring. KJ Britt, Keon White, Trevin Wallace, Andrew Phillips, or Devin Witherspoon. Thanks. Love the show. Thank you, Kevin, for the comment. If you like it, please make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button so you're always chatting with us every week. To your question, Andrew Phillips has been a fun story at defensive back for the Giants.
Yeah.
They get Washington, so that could be kind of a spicy little matchup. Witherspoon gets LA, which would be a really one. I almost thinking a big play scoring. If that's your 8th one, you could do much worse than Devin Witherspoon as your 8th guy.
I agree. I still like. I think KJ Britt's due at some point here. Like he's getting close to 100% snaps. That's still virtually an every down linebacker you could be plugging in there. So I personally might lean Britt still. But I understand the logic with Witherspoon as well, for sure.
And I know that with Levante David, it kind of caps Britt a little bit, so maybe we won't see Hunter there. Hey guys, thanks for all the great stuff. Nevin or Curl? I don't know who Nevin is.
Nevin. But you know what?
Nevin.
With the tune of the show today, it's probably going to be Curl, regardless of a couple names. We've been pumping his tires. So I think it's probably safe to say Curl, even if we're not sure on Nevin.
Devin, Brevin, Jevin, Kevin. Yeah, Newbin.
Kevin? Yeah.
Newbin.
Yeah.
He just chimed in. Newbin.
Oh, Newbin. Curl. Yeah.
Yep. So, thank you, Tricks, for the questions. We appreciate you. Hopefully, we'll see you back here next week. Wagner or Barton at linebacker? Thanks. So this is a tough one too, because Cody Barton is one of those 100% snap guys, which we love. Wagner has just been outer worldly for years, so it's kind of hard not to play him in a smash start.
I'm bullish on him this week. Like I said, I think he's like a top 5 option in terms of like IDP flex. Like I think he's gonna have a big week. So I'm going Wagner there.
Barton gets Baltimore. Run heavy. A lot of opportunities to get stiff armed by Derrick Henry. Still going Wagner?
I'm still going Wagner. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to you, Moonlight. Looks like both ETN and Bigsby are trending towards being active today. Would you start Bigsby over Javonte Williams? I know, pretty ugly half-point PPR.
I don't like that matchup for Javonte with the Ravens. And Javonte's just been a funny one this year. He had a good game a couple of weeks ago against the Saints. But it's just he's been so up and down. Now he's got a tough matchup. Tank Bigsby's really just shown that, he's a great running back regardless of who else is on his team. The Jags are still going to use him today. He also has a tough matchup that was worth noting. I think I still might lean Bigsby here over Javonte as ETN's kind of getting settled. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it too, Jax, before that, Bigsby has established himself enough in that role. He is their running back that they drafted. The old regime picked ETN, so they were going to force Bigsby into this. And I think coming back from the hammy or whatever ETN was dealing with, I think they kind of ease him in. So that matchup for Javonte is not good versus Baltimore this week. So
yeah.
Cody Barton, Quay Walker, or Terrell Bernard for Joshua here. What are you thinking? Starting one at linebacker and then one at a flex. So
I just want to know what was up with Cody Barton last week at that stat. Like he had such a great week the week before, and then just kind of a dud last week. The opportunity is certainly there, right? On a good defense with Denver.
100% of snaps.
Yep, and like you said, like they're Derrick Henry's going to be running the ball a bunch. If Cody Barton can make those tackles, like the opportunity is certainly there. I do love Terrell Bernard. I like the Miami matchup. I think personally, I'm still leaning Terrell Bernard here. But I can understand the Cody Barton play if you believe that he can take down Derrick Henry. I got my doubts personally, but yeah.
Oh, I'm with you. And then so if you get a flex, how are you ranking these three then? Are you ranking them Bernard 1?
I'm going Bernard 1. I do like Quay, as I've mentioned a couple of times earlier. When he's healthy, he's been playing 100% of snaps. I think I'm going Terrell Bernard 1. I'm going to go, you know what? This week I'm going to go Cody Barton 2, just because Quay is coming off the concussion. You never know what happens in terms of snaps there. So I'm going to go Terrell 1, Barton 2, Walker 3.
Perfect. That's exactly how I see him too.
Nice.
Perfect. Wagner it is. Lock it in, Moonlight. Yep. Josh, appreciate that. Another question snuck in here. Levante David, Eric Kendricks, Quay Walker, or the Cleveland linebacker. I'm assuming he means Mohamed Diabate.
Yeah.
If you're only picking one there, it's between Levante David and Eric Kendricks for me.
Yep. I'm with you. Not totally sure on that matchup for Kendricks with Atlanta. I'm a big Levante guy, and I have been all season, so I think I'm leading Levante here personally. He does have Kansas City, I believe, right? So that's
top 2 matchup. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going Levante. Yeah.
easily for me as well. So
yeah.
Picking up pick 3, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Swift, Josh Downs, Marvin Harrison Jr., Mooney. Very hard decisions here.
It feels like a start your stud situation again for me. Like with Tua back, start Hill. Don't overthink that one, right? I'm starting Kupp too. As long as Kupp's healthy, he's a top option. Downs is enticing with the connection with Flacco, but I think I'm still starting MHJ here. So yeah, I'm going Kupp, Hill, MHJ.
That's more in alignment with where I was at. So you're welcome, Josh. Yep. Needed one of those. Duggar isn't active. Ellis is active. So Duggar, like you had said, kind of a surprise inactive. Trying to bounce back up to that question here. Can't remember exactly what the parameters of that question were with the Duggar spot. Do you remember offhand, Jax, what the question was with Duggar? So, thanks for the update there, Will. Josh wants to know Geno or Bo Nix this week. I think it's got to be Geno with that matchup. Oh, you're muted, Jax. Can't hear you. Nope. Nope.
Maybe now?
I guess we'll take this. Yeah, there you go. You're back. So
back? Okay, good. Yeah, give me Geno. Just with Bo Nix's. That's a tough matchup. Even though you look good, Geno all the way.
Perfect. Couple last here, Jacobs or Tyrone Tracy. I think we're going to go Jacobs in that matchup. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Even got a receiving touchdown last week. Exactly. Bo Nix or Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray for me. Yep.
Yeah.
And then Pollard is active. So, Will, we appreciate you jumping in and helping us out with those late inactives and things like that. It was a good spot. So, well, sir, that brings us up to the end here. We fired through a ton of questions. I appreciate that. So, Jax, what are you working on, and where can the good folks find more of your work?
Yeah, right now I'm spending a lot of my time kind of updating and developing the trade calculator over at the IDPshow.com. So I have my website as well, idynasty.com. I actually took that calculator we have there and brought it over to the IDP show. So if you like the calculator on my site, or if you used it before, we do kind of have like an updated version of that, all suited towards kind of big 3 scoring that we use a lot over at the IDP show. So if you go to the idpshow.com, it's just kind of on our top heading bar there. I'm updating it as frequently as I can, and we have a date there now that shows when the values have all been last updated. So if you guys have IDP trades you want to kind of go check out, go fire them into that calculator and kind of see how you did.
Yeah, that's been a fantastic tool too. Like, it's been just so like user friendly, and it's nice that it has offense and defense and picks all in it. So it's a really good, really fun tool to have. So little J Money wants to know Tyrone Tracy or David Montgomery. I think Montgomery's a smash for a touchdown here.
Agreed. Yeah.
So
every game almost.
Yes. Yeah. He's been consistent. That's what we love to see. So, all right, Jackson, I appreciate you coming on, chatting a little football with us. Hopefully we see you again very, very soon.
Anytime, man. Thanks so much for having me. It's a blast.
All right. Best of luck to all of you in week 9. Best of luck to you with injuries, lineup decisions, and we'll see you back here in week 10. Have a great week and enjoy the start of February or November. Ooh, tough one.